Alright, now that we're starting on these windows, I'll have to show you the first thing we've got to do is once we get everything cut halfway to size, that is the width, the length we've cut, because we have to straight line rip. And since I don't like joiners, I just set up a jig and use the table saw with a good sharp blade, because you can take a look at this and see we're high there, we're the same here on this one and this one, but if you get over here to the middle, you'll notice a big difference. And then if we keep going down to the end, so we need to straighten all this stuff up so that we have good straight jambs, because they're going to be 4 inches wide, and that's going to be holding the windows in place. Okay, this is what I've used. You can see I'm touching here, I'm touching down there at the end, and this piece of plywood is straight as anything that I'm going to be able to find here in the shop. So what I'll do is I'll set this up to where the blade comes in at exactly this point, and it'll straight line rip this all the way down. And then what I'll do is when I get them all straight line ripped, then I'll reverse them, and then I'll come in and straighten them up to the right width. And the width's going to end up being probably around 3 7/8, 3 13, somewhere along in there. I like the number 13. I don't know why. I guess because I'm not superstitious. But anyway, so we're going to rip all this down, and then I'll be back. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention. I usually, and I'm going to put them on there, and you'll see me ripping one of these. I've usually got just a board across here just to keep this in place. I don't get anything to hold it in place, because I just like to go from one board to the next. So it's if you want to try to do something like this, you need to be very careful, because what happens is these boards will drift if your saw is not set up perfect. So I'd rather you put you a metal bracket or a piece of plywood across here, screw it into this, so that you won't have any chance of this thing flying out. And I'll say that again. Put your stop across here so that you can nail or screw this to the plywood so that it acts like one piece of wood, so that you have full control of it. And also, the plywood needs to be, I always like it to be at least just a few inches longer than the board I'm straight line ripping. I use 8 foot all the time because it's readily handily. I use 8 foot because it's available. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to rip down. Now the sides are going to change. We're going from a 5 inch to around a 3 3/4 to a 4 inch. Depends on how that works out. And then we're going to rip down the stops for your weather strip, because we want to build all the jambs first before we start on the windows themselves. So we'll have, 2 of these for each side. And then we need 1 for the top. The bottom is part of the window sill itself. So anyway, all right, well, here we go. Okay, we're fixing to rip the weather strip holder, and it'll be down to 1 3/4. we're going to do, we're going to take all our weather strip holders and we're going to run a kerf down them so that we can get our weather strip in there. This is what I'm going to do with all of them. This is the weather strip that goes in there, and just I can get this in there now. I'm just going to do a little short piece because during the winter I got to put it in the microwave to be able to work with it a little better. But this is the front side. This is the, whoops, everything's backwards on. Okay, what I'm going to do is just truing up both ends. I am not cutting them to length yet because we don't know the exact length. So just truing them up so we can just pick it up and turn it either way and trim it to the right length. Okay, here's the, I've already got these cut when I started on the other windows, but this is the exterior bottom sill. This part will be the drip edge for water, rainwater. This is your slot for the weather strip, and of course this is the top where your crank mechanism goes, which I'll show you here in just a second. And this is usually about 1.5 inches to 1 3/4 inches thick. This one's going to end up being about 1.5 inches, and it's all give or take, whatever works best for you. You at least want to keep this front edge at least 1/2 inch to keep it from buckling or warping up. By the way, this is all cypress we're using, so it sure smells good. But let me show you this piece. Whoops. Let me show you this piece over there where the cranks are. Okay. This is where I was just talking about. This is that bottom sill. This is where the windows close against. This is where our crank mechanism goes. So all this, and now all this is going to be flush. This is not going to be sticking out like that. So this is all going to be cut down and be all the same width. This window was just a sample to take over there to show them in case we had to make some changes, which we are making changes. So it's best always to make up a sample window because we're not going to have this fillet in here. This is all going, the back of the window is going to end right there at that weather strip holder because they want it to die into the sheetrock. Anyway, okay. Now I'm fixing to cut all the pieces to the right length, and then we'll come back, start on the window. This theatrical is going to be part of our window cutting out stuff. But at least we have this part, the jamb, and the sill. Well, we got all our pieces cut to length. Got our sides, got our header pieces. I'm looking for our, oh, here's the sills. Boy, it's raining so hard here. I don't know if you're able to hear me or not, but we're going to keep going. Okay, here's the sill pieces. Everything's cut to the right width. Now we're going to start putting them together. Okay, we got the first part of the frame put together. Got our header piece in, got our two side jambs. This is the outside. This is where the windows are going to be closing up against. This is where the weather strip. This is where the weather strip goes. This is the inside. Now you'll notice there's a booger bear. There's a booger bear right there, but that's going to be covered up by the weather strip holder that goes up the side. So that's going to disappear. So anyway, we're at the point now where we're ready to put our weather strip holder on there, weather strip piece. So we'll get that on there now. Okay, we got our weather strip bar in there. Got our lower sill, you know, the one, whoops, wrong end. This is the one that's got that slanted, you know, it's got about a 7 to 8 degree. See if I can get, well, of course you know what it looks like. Our 7 or 8 degree for watershed. Got our place for our weather strip. So now we got that. Now we need to get the size for the windows and start building windows.